Hey everybody, what is going on? Welcome to another episode of Yammy Noob. We have our resident champ evangelist here, Josh, who has done now Champ School, Champ U, and now you're gonna complete the triumvirate and you're doing Champ Street.
That's right.
Yeah.
The intro to all of this curriculum, basically, the most accessible form of the champion's curriculum.
Yeah. I think we like to think of it as kind of like the MSF plus, right? It's like after you do your MSF, maybe you're gonna learn some extra skills, some new stuff. You think this is for the beginner rider, right?
Yeah, definitely. I've looked a little bit into how they market this, and it's help build confidence, but also to give you tools to be safer on the street. This is a street riding course. It's not on track or anything like that, but I'm excited to find out. I know the curriculum about Champ School, and I have no idea how they're going to compress 2 days of all of that information down into 1 day in a parking lot.
There's a lot.
But we'll figure it out.
Yeah, well, let's get Josh out there and see what Champ Street's all about.
You've likely heard of Champ School and Champ U, the e-course, but the newest addition to the lineup of courses and training at Yamaha Champ School is Champ Street. It's a one-day street-oriented version of the Champ School curriculum that is designed to be more accessible, in many ways more approachable for an apprehensive rider. You wear street gear, you ride your own bike, and you never brake above legal highway speeds. The Champ Street program follows Champ School to each location and is offered in a parking lot or skid pad near the track where the two-day Champ School is taking place. The day is spent rotating from instruction and demonstration to practice on your own bike of the principles being taught. It is so important for street riders to learn the mechanics of grip, the physics of cornering, changing direction, trail braking, and covering your brakes, and other life-saving techniques to be better equipped and safer on the road. This course is a natural next step for Yamaha Champ School to court street riders who want to ride safely for a long, long time. It's by no means a substitute for the famous two-day track experience of Champ School, but it is an awesome way to get introduced to some riding habits and techniques that are going to save your life on the street. Let's get out on the range.
All right, welcome out to the range for Champ Street. If you've done Champ U, you will recognize this iconic skid pad from all of their production. I think the whole thing was shot out here. What a beautiful place to come and work on some motorcycling skills out here in the middle of Arizona. We have 2 stops on our course right now, so we are actually on the back half of the day. This is after lunch, jumping around a little bit. Currently we're working on a handful of things. One, they set us up with some U-turns, so we can work on U-turns. We had a whole section where they tried to offer us kind of a few extra things to add to our U-turns that might make it a little bit easier. As you can tell, this is beginner focused. That way, you know, any place they're going to be helping you with U-turns is beginner focused, but totally understandable. It is one of the most anxiety-inducing things on a motorcycle. Right now, the other part of the drill that we're working on is braking 5 feet later. So, in the morning, they explained a bunch of these principles that discussed where, how long, when we should, when we shouldn't brake, and these types of scenarios. One of the biggest things that they drive home is, as a motorcyclist, having the ability to apply 1% of your brake. For these purposes, the goal is really to have control over your motorcycle in situations where you don't, because you're not on the power, you're not in the friction zone of the clutch. Oh, look at me, I just put my foot down. Lost a point on my MSF. Y'all think logging's easy, but you get out on a rodeo course and try and start talking to folks that aren't actually here and tell me how easy it is. But we went through so many things this morning that we're applying all of them right now. So yes, braking 5 feet longer or 5 seconds later than I would normally come off the brake, I think is what the last drill was. We'll see what we got here.
Do a rear brake only.
Okay.
Keep your fingers up in case you need it.
Okay. Rear brake only. So this is a section of the day that really reminds me of Champ School the most, where we have stops, and between each stop we're focusing on some bit of the foundational principles that we went over this morning. I love this part of it. It was probably my favorite part on Champ School. Getting to stop on track, having these people just have watched you. They watch you pull out. They watch you come around that corner, and they're great. They're experts. And then they come and give you some piece of direction, something else you need to work on. Okay, now work on this, now work on that. We spent all morning really breaking down these things individually. At this point, we're trying to lace them all together and they're out here to give us reminders. So yeah, this is a lot of the stuff that you can expect out here from Champ Street. There is absolutely a lot of drills, a lot of instruction, a lot of feedback on the drills that you're performing. And I think this is probably the third or fourth or fifth configuration that they've set up for us with these cones. So all kinds of different practice scenarios. This is going awesome. I'm having a blast out here. I want to sit down and talk to the guys that are running the street program and try and get a little bit of their interpretation of the curriculum, of the intention, of the goal of this. So let's sit down with one of the guys and see what they have to say about Champ Street and which rider it's best meant for.
So Nick Einach, our YCRS founder, lives south of Pueblo, Colorado. I live south of Denver. And there's an awesome racetrack at Pueblo, Colorado. It's kind of old school, but the layout is really good. And so we wanted to help the street riders have a segment of training that wasn't full. Well, Nick negotiated with Pueblo to let that happen. And one of the things that helped it happen was street speed. So we don't allow that class to go 90. We go whatever the highway speed limit is. So that allows those participants to show up in their street gear. So we called that the Sunset Clinic. Nick and a guy named Ray McPeak, who was in the military up there, and that helped spear it all off. Louis Ferrari, myself, Scott Riberick. Off. And then when the Marine Corps hired us to do some of their programs, we were able to really fine-tune what you saw the other day.
Gotcha, because that was when you guys kind of pieced it together into a full class and made a bid out of it, and it had a detailed curriculum, what you were going to pull from Champ School into the one-day program.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay. Very cool. Other thing I wanted to ask is what, because I saw them all out in the class, and we obviously in the video can't cover everything that we discussed, but if you had to pick one thing that you see just a majority of street riders doing that you guys are covering in there, and don't just say brakes generally, what's the one thing that you were working on in there that every street rider's missing?
Well, the covering the brakes part we think is critical because it's a reaction time thing. The guy can start slowing sooner if you're covering and ready.
Yeah.
And then using the brakes until you're happy. So many riders aren't using their brakes properly. They either stab at it or don't use it enough. And so those two things. And so the drill that we spent a pretty good amount of time on, straight line braking.
Yep.
Right. We really brought everybody down in there. You braked pretty hard, coming from the 2-day school. And advanced rider, Josh.
Right.
You saw some of those other riders needed, to be, what's the word I'm looking for, coaxed up to really moving in and using their brakes hard.
Yeah. Yeah, and that was cool because even in those same drills, I could do what I felt like I needed to do to feel and learn and get the feedback that we were looking for. I was hitting ABS. I was, doing a bunch of things. But other people were just able to get up to a comfortable speed because we were in a safe place and then brake hard. Get a lot of people brake early and surprise themselves, I think, as well, because they just weren't used to putting that kind of force into the lever.
I totally agree with that. And so that drill, when I first started doing it, I called it an emergency stop. And we changed that verbiage. Now we call it a hard stop with a chauffeur to the end. Chauffeur stop at the end. That's what you did, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And when first time I tried to do that, I think I blowed past you too. Sweet. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. With that, we're jumping to my final wrap up. So thank you, Mark. I appreciate your time.
All right, guys. I am back at home. Finally have put my thoughts together on the whole Champ Street program. Thank you to the Champ School guys for having me out. It was such a cool time. Anytime that I get to come out and hang out with you guys. To talk a little bit more about Champ Street, I could not be more excited about them having this program set up. I think the roots from how it began is a great story, but what it has to offer to regular riders like you and me here in the near future is amazing. These guys have their tentacles in every little corner of motorcycling, reaching out to try and spread the word about the way that they are teaching people to ride a motorcycle. I think it's so important that people ride a motorcycle the way that they were designed to be ridden, not just the easiest way to license someone and get them onto the road. The Champ Street guys have really impressed me. Mark, thank you so much. Your program is awesome. I'm excited for the next time that I get to come out and ride with you guys on track or even in the range. So last question to answer is, should you go? And who should go? And I think you can already probably piece together that I'm going to tell you you should absolutely go. And I'd wager it's for everyone. But who specifically? And I think this is largely the reason that the Champ School guys like to work with the Yami Noob team so much, is because we communicate to a lot of new riders. Just at my time in Yami Noob, I've had multiple people here at the shop that we teach to ride. Whether that's Derek, our camera guy, who you've seen in videos, or Aldo, who came in and picked up the Street Triple RS. It really shows how passionate the Champ School guys are about getting in front of new riders. For that reason, I think that this is a fantastic program as a basic rider course plus. I think that this is a great introduction into more advanced braking techniques that are actually really, really important for being safe on the road. It's not just for people who want to lower their lap times and go racing. This stuff needs to get in front of anybody who wants to have control in twisty roads or in traffic, or just have all of the tools that their motorcycle has available to be safe on the road. So yes, it's probably for you, and yes, I highly recommend you go. Thank you so much for sitting through this video with me. I'm Josh. Follow me on Instagram at Suzuki_simp. I really appreciate it. And I'll catch you guys on the next one.
Well, look at you. You've made it to the end of another Yami Noob video. You should consider yourself pretty lucky, because I have curated this one right over here for you to continue watching. It's probably just as good as the one you just saw. Unless you hated the one you just saw. I don't know, maybe leave me a comment down below about how much you hated it as well too. Or just keep watching this one. Make sure you keep watching Yami Noob. Don't forget to keep watching Yami Noob. That's the most important thing. Keep watching Yami Noob.